Hi! Welcome to part 1 of my review featuring Spectacular Settlements, the definitive guide to creating rich and diverse settlements for storytelling and fantasy role-playing games. This is exactly the book that you need if you want to create towns, cities, outposts, everything at all related to structures, places of habitation, and hubs for adventures. Let's talk about the quality of the PDF. The quality is excellent. The document is fully bookmarked, it is hyperlinked, it is well organized and written. The graphic design looks great, the layout has this sort of aspect of a fantasy city planner book of sorts. The illustrations are quite vibrant, some of them are in black and white and others are in full color, and there are plenty of maps. So overall the quality is excellent. Now let's talk about the contents. This book is filled with resources to help you generate ideas for spectacular settlements, of course. All of the content you will find is meant to be malleable and maybe tweaked to fit your needs. Ultimately, this book should be an engine of inspiration. Ideas for every aspect of settlement creation are generated on random tables. Most of these tables are found in the builder chapters of the book, but there are also tables of non-player characters to populate your world, and in the appendices at the back of the book, a glossary of location information, encounter tables, rumors that could be permeating through your settlements, as well as a whole host of other useful tables. If you are short on time or creativity, each chapter also includes pre-generated settlements that you can slot right into your game world. Now, each builder chapter is full of all the necessary elements needed for game masters to build their own particular kind of settlement. So you have chapters focused on trading posts, villages, towns, cities, capitals, fortresses. So these different sections and subsections work as builders. You can roll on the options or choose the options that you like. Each result will give you details about your settlement, and some will provide you with one or more modifiers which will affect later tables. Once you have finished obtaining those outcomes, you look back at all of your results and start to think about how those results mesh together, including any inconsistencies or oddities that may have been rolled, and start to weave a story for your settlement. And you have plenty of other tools, such as, like I said, pre-generated settlements, interesting non-player characters tables with details. You also have appendices featuring location information, encounters, rumors, and many useful tables, including hook and situation builders. Now, when rolling up your settlements, you will almost certainly run into contradictions or results from tables that conflict. You may find yourself thinking that things wouldn't make sense. Of course, you could simply choose an alternative option that you feel makes more sense, but it is oftentimes enjoyable to embrace such inconsistencies. Try accepting that your role is how it is, and take on the creative challenge of explaining why it might be that way. You can imagine that the builder process is not actually creating a new place, but instead revealing a place that already exists, but it is yet to be discovered. With each table, you see a little bit more than you did moments before, and your thoughts and opinions shift ever so slightly to accommodate this new information. By questioning your roles, you make sense of them. You always have the answer. The builder will tell you what's there, but it is up to you to determine why things are the way they are. When you do, life will be breathed into the places you create. Now, let's take a brief look or brief overview at the different things that you can create. You could build trading posts. They are small settlements built in specific locations to create an opportunity for trade coming from multiple locations, but with few individuals residing permanently. You also have villages. They are typically small, rural communities with populations in the low hundreds at most. They provide food and land stability to the domains they are part of. You also have towns. They are larger and more developed than villages and trading posts. Usually, populations will be in the low thousands. Towns are more structured places, and it is very unlikely that an individual would be personally familiar with every other resident. You also have cities. By virtue of size and scope, They tend to be much more spread out than towns or villages. They will often have specialized locations, such as academies, great temples, or government buildings. Cities are more likely to be centers of culture and may have a packed calendar of local events. You also have capitals. They are cities that have the infrastructure and bureaucracy necessary to be a ruling power, and will be the seat of a nation's head of state, perhaps the monarch. Its importance and centrality often means more people, larger structures, and more things to find and places to explore. There are also fortresses. They are robust, secure locations, generally built to be defensible. In this book, a fortress may be a keep, a castle, or a stronghold. Fortresses have the potential to be the most varied settlement type, as some are remote, some are urban and central, and some are family homes. Some are also organization headquarters, and some are just plain bizarre. Effectively, this book contains what amounts to thousands and thousands of suggestions. If you notice a detail you don't like, or something that just doesn't fit with the campaign setting you are using, or the area you need your settlement in, simply change it. This applies to anything you find in a table, within a non-player character description, or anything else. The most important thing to remember is that you have complete freedom when making your settlement. If you opt to select things from a table instead of rolling, that is up to you. It's also important to note that none of the content in this book works without you. Whether you end up building a trading post or capital, keep or stronghold, they will always be unique and yours. And this concludes this part of the review. In the next part, we are going to take a look at trading posts. Each of the different parts of this review is going to focus on the different types of settlements that you can create. As you can see, this book is extremely useful. Well, that will be revealed as you take a look at the different sections of the review. But this is perfect to generate any sort of settlement in a fantasy role-playing game. But with a bit of tweaking, you can also use this with other settings. For example, maybe you are playing in a science fantasy setting, that could work. Maybe you are playing in a Wild West setting, maybe with some tweaks. Perhaps you want to use this in science fiction settings. Well, that's going to be a bit more involved when it comes to making modifications to the results, but it's certainly not impossible. You will only need to ignore some results of the tables, change some trappings and aesthetic details of the results of the outcomes. It's certainly doable, but definitely the focus of this book lies in creating fantasy, high fantasy or low fantasy settlements. Thank you for watching this part of the review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.